Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The late, great Winston Churchill said these words: "Diplomacy is the art of telling people to go to hell in such a way that they ask for directions." Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America. Followed by, come on, Patriots, get up, be proud, call in, give our Pledge of Allegiance on this Wednesday. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch on this Wednesday, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. Stop in, see them today. Don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And also Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Wow, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Well, my friend,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, as always. Thank you, Doug. God bless you, man. Talk to you a little bit. Thanks. There he goes, and right now here we go to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you this hour to start things off this morning by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. You can't miss them. They're right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. They've got the best of tools and equipment for you to finish any job, any construction project, whatever. Oh, like me, you're not sure what you need? Ha-ha! Problem solved. Give them a call and just talk to them. They'll tell you. They'll help you. 678-3122. 678-3122, K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's a nice day for a parade. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, high of about 90 with a slight breeze out of the south at about 8 miles an hour. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies, high of 88. The wind is going to be picking up as we move through tomorrow night, mostly clear skies, and wind gusts could be as high as 32 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 55. For Friday, sunny skies, still a little bit on the breezy side with a high of 83, and as we look towards the weekend, looks like sunny skies and upper 80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. You betcha Roger gets there early with the rest of the crew at 7 in the morning to better serve you with the long, great list of all the tools and equipment they've got to serve you and finish your projects. K&R Rental, 678-3122. Quick reminder, somebody called me on this morning. There will be no sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard tomorrow on Thursday. It's Fair Week for Cassia County Fair, and I guess all the staff is going to be over there riding the tilt-a-whirl and the Ferris wheel. No, I'm kidding you. They just have to enjoy a great fair week. No sale tomorrow at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Want to remind you, too, that we've got a jam-packed program this morning of some really, really good people. Back in Indianapolis, Indiana, we've got Dave Bego. And then we're going to move over to Florida. And we have the Lieutenant Governor of Florida, Jennifer Carroll, coming on. And she's going to be talking about how we better darn sure be worried about our Second Amendment being taken away. And then, of course, old Josh from Sportsman's Warehouse at 10:06 is going to be sitting in a boat, I believe, out at Lake Walcott, and he's going to tell us how to catch the big lunkers out there. We're going to have a visit with Kelly Wiggins at Greystone Living, and then Attorney Tim Snowball. We got a lot of things cooking on the rest of the program this morning. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They also get there early in the morning to open the doors at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Do not forget, they are there to serve you as they have been for over 6 decades. Holy moly, they've been dedicated to helping you with all your heating and cooling needs. You stop in or give them a call, 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I've got to get this word in for our friends over at Denny's Restaurant. And I want to remind everybody that next Thursday, yes, put it on your calendar, next Thursday, the 22nd, we will be over there for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Yep, our monthly great day at Denny's America's Diner, 611 North Overland and Burley. The best of breakfast and lunch and dinner and desserts anytime, all the time, with excellent people serving you. So please put it on your calendar next Thursday, Zeb's Lunch Bunch at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
My friend.
Just a moment. I want to turn my radio down.
Well, hurry up.
Okay. Okay?
Yep. Go, Keith. Don't sit there with dead air. What do you need?
Okay. Idaho Power. You know, Zeb, you've been right on with Idaho Power because they want to experiment with our money, and if it works well, then they'll still keep our money.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot lose.
Nor will they.
They don't want to tell us what they're doing.
Yeah. There are a lot of questions. You know, Keith, I don't know why they're being cowardly. I don't know why they're hiding underneath their desk. There are so many things going on in the world of power, and I think you recognize this, whether it's green energy or whether it's fossil fuels or hydro or nuclear. There are tons of questions. Actually, if I were Idaho Power, I'd be real smart, which they're not, and I'd come on the air every week and have a little power segment talking about this to tell you and other ratepayers what's going on. Don't you think that's a good idea?
I think that's an excellent idea. But the way they're going about this is just wrong, because these things like solar and wind, they're not bad things. It's just that we shouldn't have to pay for their experimentation.
Well, they're not bad things, but they're not proven commodities to be safe and secure and provide the power that we need and the power that we need to store. And I'm at a loss. I'm at a total loss on this situation. I had a call yesterday from a good friend, and he said, "How long are you going to stay criticizing Idaho Power?" And I said, "As long as it takes." And I meant it, because there is absolutely no reason that they should be hiding under their desk and not telling you and everybody else in the sound of my voice what is going on, why they want to go 100% green energy, how it's going to be done, what are the costs, what are the transition costs. All these things need to be addressed, but they're cowards.
Well, I understand those so-called beautiful windmills that's right up there by your house.
Yeah, you call them what you want, but I'm not going to call them beautiful.
that they're fun to watch.
No, they're not. You know, that's something that bothers me. Aesthetically, I think those windmills are absolutely a cancer on the landscape. I think they've taken away from the beauty of our southern Idaho, or for our state and our Northwest. They are turning, and they're bird killers. They are absolutely, I think, degenerates on the soil.
Well, they're using up land because those propellers have to be at least 30 feet off the ground when they come around. I don't know why, but anyway, that's the way it is. And the lifespan on them is not even 10 years.
Yeah,
That's what it's going to take to pay them out.
Yeah, if they pay them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith, I appreciate your call. You always break the ice in the morning, and I appreciate that. God bless you, man. Have a great day, and tell the sugar cookie queen I said hello.
I will, and you go for it.
Okay, thank you. Oh, my. I want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I was on the phone with them yesterday after the program, and we did a little interview and talked to Callan Smith and Nick. It was really a lot of fun. They really can take care of you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number you need to write down, the number you need to call and make an appointment is 678-1191. Let me repeat, 678-1191. For all your aching and paining, recouping from a surgery or an accident, please let their professional staff of physical therapists serve you. And serve they do at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. Caller, I'll be right there. I promise you're next in order, and I want to remind everybody about Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, my. You got animals. You got livestock. You've got little kitty cats, little puppy dogs, whatever. They are there to serve you and keep your animals healthy with all the vaccination programs and making sure that your livestock's taken care of with all the ticks and the flies and everything else going on out there. Make sure you take care of your animals and let them help you at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. That number to call. And remember, 678-1177. 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Deb. What do they consider the hydroelectric dams? I consider them renewable resources. I don't understand why they need to try to branch off with the windmills. That if you ever seen the videos of them come apart while they're flapping in the wind and burning up, I don't understand why they don't just do more research with hydroelectric. Got a lot of that around.
You know, and Riley, there's so much available, but yet the bottom line is our coal base in this country is absolutely, it's unfathomable to see how many years, I mean literally thousands of years of coal are available. It's God's gift to us, our country, for a renewable resource that we can have every year for eternity almost. And with all the new scrubbers and all the new technology and everything, clean energy. And he's gone. I don't know what happened to him. But, Riley, I lost you, buddy. I don't understand why you have to go into something like wind and solar that is not reliable and has not paid the bills. Caller, Wheels, what happened to our caller? He went off into the dial tone someplace.
He must have. He must have got cut off or something, but you also have another caller.
Well, then, by golly, let's put him on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
How's my buddy Tony in Twin Falls?
Yeah. Say, besides Idaho Power being all for green, who else do we know of is behind this movement? Is somebody in a foreign country? Is it somebody like George Soros would love to see the United States go down to its knees? That's something that you think about a lot. Who is behind it besides Idaho Power?
I wish I had all the time that it would take to start an investigatory movement and find out. I think your question is a very good question. I would like to have nothing more than maybe a staff of two or three people to where we could start an investigation and start probing into this. But Tony, I think you know me well enough. I get up at 4 in the morning and I'm trying to do things until 10 o'clock at night. I don't have a heck of a lot of time to do anything else.
Well, I wish I had some connection somewhere, but I'll see. Maybe I can get a hold of other programs or something that might have some kind of information. So.
Well, whatever you find out from any different association or whatever, I would be deeply appreciative. But I am doing my own little deal, if you will, about Idaho Power. And the bottom line is, and I'll say this and reiterate it, they were invited on the program. It's been over a month ago now. And they were invited on very politely. And up front, Tony, I told them that I was not a fan of green energy. I was not a fan of wind and solar, but I wanted them to come on the program to discuss their approaching about 20 years. They wanted to go 100% green energy. And I said, I'd like to have you discuss that along with other power stories. And they informed me, absolutely not. They would not come on my program to talk about it. Now, that tells me, one, there's information they want to hide. Two, they don't want to talk about the costs. And three, that they're cowards. Would you disagree with that or not?
Oh, absolutely not. I think where we'd find a lot of help is the trucking industry could shut this country down. Now, that's where the power is. I think they can bring Idaho Power to their knees if they wanted to, economically.
Well, quite frankly, the trucking industry can bring this whole country down if there's a stoppage and flow of all the trucks going all over our contiguous states. I don't know how in the world we'd ever exist without the transportation issues. Thank God for the trucking industry. Thank God for all the marvelous ways and means that they use to get our goods and services and our food delivered all over the United States. And I certainly hope that the stupidity and the arrogancy of the new Green Deal falls flat on its face.
Well, I think that's where our major help is going to be, from the power of the trucking industry.
Could be. It very well could be, or a major part of it. And Tony, I certainly hope you and Mary are doing very well. God bless you in Twin Falls, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Okay, thank you. Same to you at the end.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. By the way, I got to take just a moment, and then we'll take some more calls. I relish your phone calls. Cache County Fair and Rodeo. Oh, my. Today, Wednesday, and they're going to have the big parade starting at 10:30 this morning. Oh, it's going to be a Jim dandy. And, of course, along with the parade, tonight they've got team sorting in the arena. And then tomorrow night starts the Ram Rodeo at the Fairgrounds Arena. Don't forget, PRCA rodeo action at its best. But at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening before the rodeo, they're going to have the Junior NFR Mini Bull Riding. This is really something. Galen and Pat Jabauer were on the program the other day talking about this, and I urge you to get there early and take that in. And all of this happening at your Cache County Fair and Rodeo. Also, some of the great merchants that would like you to be a part of the Cache County Fair and Rodeo include Butte Irrigation. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got two great locations. 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 South. And Paul, say that fast 5 times. Number to call, 438-8103. And they're also located by Red Cap Corner, north of Kimberly. Oh, my. When you need parts or service, think Butte Irrigation. They'll get you wet. And then here we go with Rick and Mountain Transmissions. I'll tell you, if your old tranny isn't working well, you put it in drive, but you're backing up. Woo, something's wrong. Have your transmission checked at Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley. Number to call Rick, 678-9110. And the Mini-Cache Chamber of Commerce, hello, Penny and the crew, at 679-4793. And they always say to the businesses, come grow with us. Absolutely. They can help you and your business succeed. The Mini-Cache Chamber of Commerce. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget, on Mondays, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. Great bakery, fantastic restaurant, and all you have to do is answer the trivia question, and you'll be the cookie winner to Sophie's Chatterbox. I do not understand how this story can keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger like a cancer. And I just think that the investigation into the supposed and alleged suicide of Jeffrey Epstein, this thing gets a little bit more, what? Every day. Now they found out through the preliminary investigation that the guards were sleeping. Now here's a guy, Epstein, that was put in prison before his trial on a very high suicide alert. He had tried suicide earlier. So they put him in this very high security prison, and he is supposed to be watched all the time, but somebody lifted, after the first attempt, the suicide alert. And somehow the cameras were not focused on his cell. And the guards were sleeping. And they falsified the reports of looking in on Epstein. What is going on here? We'll talk more about it in a minute. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, communication with you a little earlier. Back to the hydroelectric thing, and I wish that Idaho Power would just talk to the people who use their power and get the feeling of the people who are going to pay the bill, instead of be so snobbish and uptight and holier than thou and say you're going to do it. I wish they would take the opinion of the consumer into account.
Riley, that's it right there. You have put your thumb on the pulse of exactly what we're trying to do, is get answers to questions, and they could establish a rapport with what they're doing. They could at least be upfront and honest, but no, they're hiding under their desk.
Well, it's really sad that someone would treat their customer that way, and I still believe it's due to the fact that they have no competition. They're it. For a majority of Idaho, they're it for power. I know there's other power companies out there, and good ones, but you don't have to answer to anybody. Either you get power from them or you don't get power at your house, if that's where their lines are. You can move to somebody else's area, but you're fixed.
That's exactly right. And the arrogancy of treating people that are ratepayers, that have questions, and I'm one of them, that arrogancy of, I don't have to answer your questions. We're Idaho Power. We're big. We're powerful. And we're in control. That absolutely is obnoxious to me.
Their motto is just like you said, we're big, we're powerful, and you pay your bill or you go without.
Yep, there you go. There you go. You've summed it up very succinctly, and I appreciate it, Riley. God bless you, man. Thanks. Thank you. Good young man right there. He's pretty sharp. Once again, this Epstein thing, even people that are on the left side, the liberal side of the aisle, I was absolutely shocked, and I had to sit down on the back pockets of my Wranglers this morning with my mouth open and listen to even Mayor Bill de Blasio from New York saying, what is going on here with a total breakdown in any security whatsoever? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Hoss. This is the Chief.
Hi, Chief.
Hey, I don't know if people know, I'm sure they do, but we were being billed for those head gates that were put in out at Minidoka Dam. I think we're paying for them the next 15 years, all of the ratepayers here in Burley Rupert area. And they've been converting a lot of these coal-fired plants over to natural gas. Mm-hmm. And they're very, very clean and efficient. And if you go down through parts of this country, there's natural gas wells everywhere.
What?
We have reserves of it, almost like coal.
Yeah.
And with new technology, like you say, there's nothing wrong with coal either. So, if something's working, why mess it up,
And Chief, that's the whole bottom line. And that was the area that I wanted to pursue with them as far as finding out about closing Valmy, closing Fort Bridger, why, the efficiency factor of what they're already doing versus going into a new area that's completely non-structured for any profit or any long-term safety or security for providing our power. These are questions that need to be answered, but Idaho Power said no.
I think they're afraid to match brain pans with you.
I don't know what the problem is, but, really, they just shot themselves in the foot. I'm not going to discontinue my haranguing of them because they have it coming. Chief, it is always good to hear from you. I got to get a commercial in quick, but God bless you, man. You stay healthy, all right?
Back at you.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, don't forget the sale managed by our friends, the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Don't forget Jerry and June Peterson sale coming up this coming Saturday, August 17th at 11 o'clock up in Glens Ferry, Idaho at 1882 Mackey Lane in Glens Ferry. Look for the signs. There'll be plenty of them. They've got a lot of ripping good welding and shop equipment. As a matter of fact, it says right here, lots and lots of good shop equipment and tools, miscellaneous items. I mean, it's going to be a great, great sale. So check it out this Saturday, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Oh, boy, no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yep, they sell them all. Absolutely. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you laugh and giggle and tee-hee and look with astonishment as to the, I don't know what word to even use, about Beto O'Rourke? Hold on, caller, I'll be right there. I call him Gumby, and that offended a lady here a couple of weeks ago, but Gumby always waving his arms and standing there, and he looks like that little rubber cartoon character, Gumby. Well, he was filmed, I guess they wanted to use it for political advertising. He was filmed while he was getting a haircut. Then he was filmed while he was at the dentist office, of all things. And then they just released a little video clip of him changing a tire. Couldn't believe it. And he didn't look like he'd ever done it before, quite frankly. He couldn't even get the lug nuts back on. This guy's really worrisome, and I hope at mid-September, which I think he will be, he'll be a memory. He'll be gone. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. I really enjoy your program and your conversation. I travel back and forth from Utah to Grandview, Idaho on a daily, nightly basis. And the last week or so, it's been what we call in trucker terminology, has been ideal for fuel mileage because, well, there hasn't been any wind. No wind at all.
Yep.
And as I drive by the farm out there by Bliss, where all them turbines are, they're just sitting there idly because, well, don't they need wind to keep it going?
Well, that's interesting because I just came back from that area, Nampa, to see my son not too many days ago, and the same circumstance. So I can relate what you're talking to. And my wife and I looked on both sides of the interstate, and those cancer sticks on the landscape were absolutely standing at perfect attention, and they weren't doing a doggone thing.
Yeah. And now it sounds like by the weather, next week it's going to get pretty hot again. Going to warm up. So everybody's going to have the ACs going. So if the wind isn't blowing, where they got to get the source of?
And there's one other thing I'd like you to comment on, because you said you go from Utah to where?
Grandview, Idaho.
Grandview, okay. And I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about, but just outside of Boise, that huge solar farm. And you're aware of where all those panels are you not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out there by by the stage top.
Right, exactly. I question the land. I question the materials, which we're paying, I think, a lot of money to have those built over in foreign countries, i.e. China, etc. I question how much more they're going to do if they go to a total green energy program in 20 years. I mean, how many more acres? Hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands, not only for the wind towers, but also for the solar reflectors. And I wonder how safe all this is going to be.
Well, that's a good question, because you look at what happened or is happening down in southern Nevada, right across the state line into California on I-15. There's this humongous solar farm out there.
Right.
And they're having environmentalists are having a heyday over this because it's killing the birds out there.
Yeah.
So, is it going to be better? I don't think so. They could go and put a lot more of these, solar panels up, and I think they're contributing to, I just don't think they're contributing to what they wanted to.
Well, see, what you're doing, sir, and you're doing an excellent job. You're asking questions and you're making statements, and that's why I wanted to get Idaho Power on this program, so they could discuss and discern really what is going on with their power and their company and their change to green power. I think all of these questions are very legitimate, but they ran in the closet, turned the key, and locked themselves and won't answer anything. That, to me, is a sign of cowardice.
Yeah, it is. I really enjoy yours, though, Zeb. Okay?
Hey, listen, do one thing for me today. Drive carefully. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Nice man right there, and I appreciate that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you a story about a magazine that it's stomach-turning. And I'm going to talk to you about that in just a second. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. I mean, they've got all the equipment for all the digging and the lifting and the pushing and the carrying and the grading and the leveling and everything else. I mean, they've got the equipment. They got the Doosan wheel loaders and all the excavators, and they've got all the sizes of the bobcats, the skid steers. They've got everything. And I'll tell you what, all you have to do is just go into any one of the three locations. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. I'm telling you, they've got the best of financing programs for buying, great rental programs. Check it out today. Barry Equipment and Rental, serving you. When I heard this next story, and I did some research on it, it just absolutely is sickening to me that the left and liberals could possibly think this is a good thing. Here's what's going on. A magazine called Teen Vogue. You've probably seen it at the newsstands, whatever. It came out with an article recently telling, now this is the part that I'm probably going to have to really watch my verbiage because I'm going to say something wrong and get in trouble. But it came out with an article telling pregnant teenage girls how to get abortions without telling their parents. Let that soak in for just a moment. Here is an article in a teenage magazine, Teen Vogue, that comes out with all the advice, if you will, to teenage pregnant girls on how to get an abortion without telling mom and dad. Isn't that just wonderful? Isn't that great that that magazine is destroying more of the fabric of American families? Isn't that just great? You know, there are times and circumstances where, you can criticize me for getting upset, and you can criticize me for wanting to take the redneck approach to solving or getting rid of certain problems. But this kind of garbage, This kind of garbage that's being put out to our teenagers, teenage girls. Hey, we can teach you, we can help you, we can aid you in killing a baby and not letting mom and dad know about it. It's none of their business. You think we're not on the highway to hell? This kind of garbage absolutely sickens me. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't think any of us should be silent at all when issues like this are going on in our communities, our state, and our nation. They need to be addressed and they need to be corrected. You know, this would have never even made the press 20 years ago. And teaching or telling pregnant girls, oh, don't worry, we'll help you. We'll make sure that we tell you how to avoid telling mom and dad. That's disgusting. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, it's all about dividing children from parents, divide and conquer. It's part of this Saul Alinsky deal. I mean, break down the family. These young girls, they think they can go out and have a good time, get pregnant and go get an abortion, and then, you know, they don't have a clue what's going on, and they just are led into this thing, eat, drink, and be merry, have a good time. If you make a mistake, you know, you can take care of it. They have no regard for the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill. And abortion, in my opinion, is murder. It's premeditated murder because they make a decision to conscientiously, life begins at conception, and anything beyond that, Zeb, is murder.
Well, how in the world? Wait a minute. Let me jump in. I got to have a little chance to get on the playing board here. How in the world can a society be a Christian nation, and I hope it still is, and allow babies to be born and then left lay on a gurney, being not observed or being taken care of by anybody, and then the doctors go into the mother and they say, do you want this baby or not? No. Well, then they just let the baby expire. That's happening in this country, and this is how I think that we're just honestly, like I said a moment ago, going to hell in a handbasket when you have a teen magazine telling and writing articles about how pregnant girls can go and get an abortion without telling their mother and father. How devastating to that family.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so many. I know several families, couples that can't have children, and it's very difficult to go through the through the adoption process. The LDS services now, they no longer exist for adoption because of the gay movement. So they would have to adopt two lesbians, and so that there's no more LDS. And they did a yeoman service for decades, helping young couples that didn't have the ability to have a child, and that's gone because of the LGBTQ or XYZ movement that's prevalent now.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something, Adrian. That's exactly the point. Our value system in this country has been flushed down the toilet. Right and wrong has been flushed down the toilet. And it's exactly like the Bible says. Truth is gone, and anyone who renounces evil is attacked. And we're seeing that every day in this country.
Oh, absolutely. We've reached a day when good is called evil and evil is called...
That's right. That's right.
But I guarantee you that, I think that God is very upset. We've had, 60-some million abortions that we know of,
in this country since Roe versus Wade, but you know, it doesn't say we throw in the towel. And I have a lot of friends that, well, it's all foreordained. It's going to be we're at the end of the world. I'm sorry, but we have an obligation to stand up for God in the Ten Commandments and speak out against this stuff, and personally do what we can, individually and collectively as Christians, to take a stand against this evil at all aspects.
I agree with you, and I've got to get a weather forecast on, but I know that every day you call, you bring up some excellent points, and I'm glad you did. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great day, Jeff.
I got to go to the weather forecast, and right now I want to remind you Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids cares about the medical treatment for your hearing health, and there are many causes of hearing loss, some of which might need surgical intervention. Well, please make an appointment and go over and have a hearing screening at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Number to call, number to remember, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
It's a nice day for a parade. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, high of about 90 with a slight breeze out of the south at about 8 miles an hour. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies, high of 88. The wind is going to be picking up as we move through tomorrow night, mostly clear skies, and wind gusts could be as high as 32 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 55. For Friday, sunny skies, still a little bit on the breezy side with a high of 83, and as we look towards the weekend, looks like sunny skies and upper 80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much, and brought to you by our friends and your friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I urge you to make an appointment. I did. They helped me. They can help you. Call them at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Did you know that now one of the cable networks has come out and basically they are going to tell you and me and others of our ilk that we need to be destroyed? I could not believe this when I watched it and heard it on MSNBC. The kooks and the crackpots on that station, that network, and they had one black, wild-haired pundit saying, quote, that all of us that are Trump supporters need to be destroyed. And then others on there said that we, as Trump supporters, are all racist. Woo! Getting a little heavy over there, Hector. I'm telling you, they're coming right out of the woodwork. They're coming unglued. This black man that was on as one of their pundits had great big bushy gray and black and silver hair. And he was outraged. I thought the guy was going to blow a corpuscle there for a minute. Holy smokes. He was just sitting in his chair, waving his arms and saying, well, they've got to be destroyed. They've got to be taken care of. Oh, my goodness. And then the other one said, well, yes, all Trump supporters, they're racist. You know, you don't want to hear this. You don't want to listen to this, but it's the truth. Sometime in the near future, in the very near future, there's got to be a day of reckoning. There has to be a day of, that's enough. That's enough. You're not going to do this anymore. You're not going to call us names. You're not going to run us down. You're not going to do all this and instill violence. That's enough. And that day's coming sooner than you think. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, boy. Isn't America an interesting place to live?
Well, it's the greatest country in the world to live, and it always will be. But we are slipping with our value system to the point where I'm worried we can never get it back.
Well, and who do we blame? We better start getting everybody educated, and that's all we can do, because our children are watching this, and they're going to be going nuts.
Our children are being indoctrinated from the kindergarten level all the way up through the university level. God help them at the university level. They're being indoctrinated into a different lifestyle, a socialist attitude, and one that absolutely looks with disdain on you and me of our generation as worthless people that should get out of the way.
And you know what's sad is, some of those people are our children, because they got to be so exposed to so much that was going on in the world that I think some of the youth think they can just say anything in public that they want and get away with it.
Oh, I totally agree. You know, Chris, the language that's being used by our politicians, Beto O'Rourke is an excellent example. This guy is the biggest potty mouth that ever stood up at a podium. And somebody ought to just stand there with a roll of duct tape and start putting it around him so he looks like a mummy. This guy is absolutely pathetically filthy. I have no use for Beto O'Rourke.
Well, I hardly watch him, but he obviously doesn't have people who are supporting him who have the decency to straighten him out.
Oh, I agree. I think his handlers, if you will, or managers, if you will, are probably of the same ilk. I find that man to be one of the lowest of the low. And I agree with you. Our values, our right and wrong, everything, our morality in this country is changing because of a wicked, evil left.
Well, and we on the right side need to get a little more, we need to show our good side and recruit people who want to be on the good side. And that's going to take a little while because good has suffered.
I couldn't agree more, and what a nice way to phrase it. Thank you, Chris. It's always nice to hear from you. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caller number 2, quickly. I've got about 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
MSNBC, aren't they supposed to report the news, not try to make it?
Today, Keith, you know the answer to your own comment. Today, there are very few people that are good, solid journalists. There are very few people that report the news and report the facts. They have to enlarge. They have to make their own story out of it. They have to give the story their own twist for their own, perhaps, personal gain. And to really get the news, it's tough.
You know, for a person like that guy you talked about, that black person, to come on there looking like that is another disgrace.
I don't care about his looks. Yeah, but wait a minute, Keith. I don't care about anybody's looks. I mean, I'm probably uglier than a mud fence to a lot of people, which probably is true. But I don't care about anybody's looks. It's what they say, it's what they promote that bothers me. And this nitwit saying that we all need to be destroyed. Oh, and then the other nitwit saying that we're all racist. I'm starting to get my fighting clothes on.
Well, I agree with you there. But again, I think somebody that's going to be on national television should try to look their best.
Well, I totally agree with you. No, I totally agree with you there, but it's the verbiage. It's the promotion of ill will and bad thoughts that are hurting this country. And right now, this guy telling us basically that all President Trump supporters should be destroyed. Whoa, little scary. Hey, Keith, I got one more call I got to get in. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Caller, I've got exactly a minute, and then I've got to cut you off. Go ahead real quick.
Well, I tell you.
Hurry, Randy. Come on, hurry.
When people call, we're white, we're racist, no questions asked, you and I couldn't be fair and objective about anything.
and I didn't even know what the word meant until I learned one day, you know. I just don't know. I have a son-in-law from South Carolina, and he says, I'm not racist. I grew up with black people, and I love them. I don't know. But you see, the misinformation that is fed to the public and the people that are willfully involved to perpetuate it, or the ones that fall for it and believe it. See, you can't deal with people who don't see things in a fair and objective way.
Well, they've got an agenda. I got to interrupt you because I'm out of time, Randy, but they've got an agenda. Randy, you're 100% right. They've got an agenda, and their agenda is strife, hate, and a complete dissolution of this country, and that scares me. I got to run. I got to remind everybody about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for all your safe driving, some of which you can get an instant rebate on. Better check it out today. And don't forget, too, the very best in brake service and front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, all of this at all 7 locations, along with a free pre-trip safety check. They want you to go on a vacation, come home, and be happy. Absolutely. And safe. Check it out today with all the great tire buys with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. I'll be right back in 7 minutes. Wheels all yours. Okay, here we go. Saddle up for another hour on Zeb at the Ranch. Actually, 2 more hours. And, of course, at about 10:30 this morning, don't forget the great big Cassia County Fair. Hey, we're brought to you by your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers on Zeb at the Ranch include Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Along with Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living, wonderful place, 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, Wheels, can we have this good word for Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, they are always at our disposal. And, you know, it's so easy. Lady called the other day and said, how do we get on that route service at Western Waste? We're new to the area. And I said, simple. All you have to do is call them at 734-6969. Got that number? 734-6969. And they will come by once a week, pick up your garbage. Hey, it's gone. It's out of there. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. 734-6969. Want to give a great big shout out to our friends at Hanson Mortuary. Hello, Joel and the family and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And I really urge you to call them and talk about prearranging of funerals to help eliminate and alleviate a lot of the stress and the worry on your family. The number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Oh, hey, before we go to our guest, I want to remind you the big Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Parade is going to be in about an hour and 20 minutes. Absolutely, in downtown Burley. Great big Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Parade. And then tonight, don't forget, they've got the Team Ranch Sorting Wednesday night. Absolutely. And tomorrow, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, the big rodeo, Ram Tough Rodeo. And each night at the Ram Tough Tough Rodeo starting at 7 o'clock. Don't forget, early pre-rodeo junior NFR mini bull qualifiers. Going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Some of the great businesses that want you to attend include Burley Veterinary Hospital at 2869 Overland in Burley. They've got wonderful doctors, wonderful vets serving you and your animals, both large and small. Give them a call, 678-5509, Burley Veterinary Hospital. Along with Golden Valley Warehouse at 468 West, 1000 South of Burley, 678-7324. They are locally owned and operated for years and years by a great family, the Adams family, and they urge you to call for quality seed. They've got it all right there at Golden Valley Warehouse. And last but not least, let's not forget our friend Rick at Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley. Holy moly, if you've got trouble with your transmission, you're backing up, but actually going forward, you better have him take a look at it. Free towing, free diagnostic, and free estimates at Mountain Transmissions, 678-9110. Whoo! I got to take a big breath of fresh air right now and say good morning to my old buddy back in Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Bego. How are you?
I'm doing good, Deb. How you doing?
Well, there's a lot of things that we need to discuss this morning, and I really would appreciate your viewpoint on, but right now, a situation that it befuddles my mind, and Wheels, we've got a little bit of feedback on the line, just a little. It befuddles my mind. How could a person that is an absolute lowlife like Jeffrey Epstein, and he's arrested on trafficking and pornography and using underage girls. It's a pathetic list of what he did. How could he go to a maximum security prison and all of a sudden, oops, suicide? I don't buy a minute of it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. You know, I got all kinds of articles on this are going to be in my newsletter this week, and it's crazy. And you know, they just keep coming out. And you know, there's another one today that said, you know, the cameras that are in that cell, in that maximum security prison, in his particular cell wasn't working, and some other things, and the officers never filled out reports or anything, and it just seems awful strange. It sounds like something was concocted there to get him.
Well, I only deal in facts, and by the way, Wheels, when Mr. Bego's speaking, turn him up just a little bit more. I only deal in facts on this program. The facts are the cameras were pointed in the wrong direction. The facts are he was supposed to have a cellmate, and all of a sudden that was canceled. The facts are that all of a sudden Mr. Epstein ended up with materials that he wasn't supposed to have inside the cell. The facts are the guards went to sleep and falsified the check-in times on him. This is all just absolutely a fairy tale of absolute mismanagement of facts because this man knew too much, and I think somebody got to him.
Yeah, I think somebody got to him too, and I think that it'll be interesting to see what they did with these guards and other people to get them out of the picture, and you know, whether they, you know, paid them off or whatever it is, but it's going to be interesting.
I've got to ask you about a situation that's going on right now as we speak, and if it escalates, it could be extremely dangerous, not just for us, but for the entirety of the world. And that's the situation that's going on over in Hong Kong, and the Chinese government on the border with a lot of troops that could come in and cause havoc, and create a marginal situation for the United States and other allies. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, it's an interesting situation. I think that we're seeing these type of protests, not just in this country, because think what we've gone through in the domestic terrorism here and that in the past several weeks, and now we're seeing more and more stuff in China and that, and I just believe behind the scenes there's groups and people there that are trying to not just bring down this country, but bring down other countries too, and make this one world order. Remember, that's what the Obama administration wanted this to be.
Absolutely. I got to ask you, when you see a person getting a haircut, or you see a person sitting in a dental chair with their mouth agape and somebody with their fingers down their throat, or now you see a person that has no clue about how to change a tire on a car, would you vote for that person to be the president of the United States?
It's not the type of, picture that I like to see of potential presidents for this country, so I would have to say I would not be interested.
This is the insanity. I don't know what's the matter with Beto O'Rourke. Actually, Robert Francis O'Rourke. I call him Gumby because he's waving his arms all the time. But why would you want to show the American public and the world the inside of your mouth and your tonsils and call that something that would be politically on the offense?
He's just, the polls show just what people think of him, and he's just got a strange attitude and personality, and I think that's what we're seeing as he gets out there because he thinks he can do whatever he wants and throw it out there and act so different than people are going to say, wow, we like him, and it's just the opposite happening, and I think, he, like me, a big percentage of their candidates are on the downspin.
And that's really true. If you were to take a look, and I know you know all the names, but if you were to take a look at those 20 people that are at the podiums, who really do you think is going to be discarded and put in the closet by mid-September? Name some of them.
Oh, I think Buttigieg is, and I think O'Rourke is, and the way Joe Biden's going, I think he may be too.
Oh, I do too.
He keeps stumbling over himself, and this is why he's run for election many times and never made it. And so I think the Democratic Party, I think some of them are waking up, and I think you're going to see some of these people really being pushed aside.
The thing that bothers me, though, Dave, last night I listened at great length, even though my Cubs were playing on TV. By the way, they lost. But even though I was kind of going back and forth from an interview to the Cub game, there was a gentleman on television last night that is very, very fearful that there is a undercurrent that is pushing two people in particular to the forefront and very possibly to the nomination. One, Kamala Harris. Two, and this scares me to death, Bernie Sanders. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's look at Bernie Sanders. What has Bernie Sanders done in his life except run for politics? I mean, I think he worked in the private sector for 1 or 2 years, but he has no idea how our capitalistic free market system works. And the stuff he throws out there is crazy. And actually, I think if they, chose him as their presidential candidate, I think it would help Trump a lot because I think Bernie would get destroyed in the as you move up towards the election. And Kamala Harris, that bothers me a lot. And because I don't know if you know, but she's being backed by the union that I fought, the SEIU.
Yes.
And she spoke a month ago at their big some type of retreat or convention in California, and she said we need to get rid of right to work and we need to make everybody union, and it just went on and on and on, and to me that is frightful stuff for the American people and employees across the country that deserve the chance to make their own decisions.
Absolutely. Boy, did she get her comeuppance this past weekend, though. I don't know if you saw this or not, but she decided while in Iowa at the state fair to go to a senior rest home, and she walked in and a 91-year-old lady gave her kind of a real slap in the face verbally, and she said, "You leave my health care alone." And I mean, old Kamala Harris really took a step backward.
Yeah, because, people like Kamala really don't understand, because they're being taught all this stuff. These things that they're throwing out there, we're going to give you free health care, free college education and free this and free that, and you don't have to do this, and you don't have to work as hard and all that. And this is the same stuff that we went through with the SEIU, and it's their agenda, their tactics, because all they're trying to do is buy votes, and they know they can brainwash people, and people say, "Oh yeah, that sounds good. I think I want that." But it's nice when you see people like this old lady step up and really expose who they are.
The one thing I wanted to ask you about, Dave, is in regards to unions and the problems. I've got a gentleman with the Pacific Legal Foundation coming on at, I think it's 10:30 this morning, and going to be talking about how they're forcing various people in California to join unions. They don't want to be a part of it. Are the unions, in your opinion, gaining any power right now, more so than they were a year ago?
No, they've been kind of at a standstill since Trump took over, and what's going on out there is, Evan, this is why the Democrats and the unions, because the unions are the biggest contributors to the Democratic Party. That's where they get the majority of their money, and that's why they support them, and they want them to move forward and get more membership, because the more members, the more dues money they got that they can use on politics. And but across the country, and I'm hearing it everywhere and seeing it everywhere, when you talk to employees and that, they're tired of the union bosses and their programs and what they do, and using about 45% of their union dues for politics that they don't agree with. And so you're seeing more and more union members backing out or trying to get the unions out of their workplaces, and you don't see as many people wanting to vote unions in anymore. And so basically the union membership has been at a standstill for the last couple of years.
Let me ask you this question. I don't know if you saw this or not. I saw the clips early this morning. But MSNBC evidently has decided to show their true colors every day in absolutely hating Donald Trump, his administration, and anyone who supports Donald Trump. And they are coming out with some of their pundits that are on every morning. And one black, wild-haired pundit said, and this was really scary, he went into a rage of throwing his hands up in the air and sitting there at the table just, we've got to get rid of them. All these Trump supporters need to be destroyed. And another one perked up and said, oh, yes, all the Trump supporters are racist. Whoa, those are pretty powerful words they're spouting, David, my boy.
Yes, they are. And, I think, I think people are waking up to this, and they're looking at these people. And as I've told you before, Zeb, a lot of this is being controlled by this behind the scenes by the far left and the unions and other people that want to bring down this country and make it a socialist, communist country. And my comment to people is, if you really think all these free things that the socialists and communists say that they're going to give you really work, then and go back and research and investigate how countries like Venezuela and Cuba and other socialist and communist countries are doing, and how their people are doing, and how poor they are.
I want to ask you, I don't know your situation. You probably went to school on a basketball scholarship, and I commend you for that, but still it takes money out of your pocket. But I paid for my own education, my college education, and I'm very proud of that. I worked a couple of jobs before school and then after school late in the evening. But all of a sudden the Democrats, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, all of these people, they're coming out on the same page of forgiving 1.6 trillion $trillion in student loan debts. Well, I guess I'm kind of like, okay, why not pay me back? I paid for my own education. Why are we forgiving the debt right now of $1.6 trillion to this current generation?
Well, again, this is all about votes, Zeb, and this is what they do. And we saw all this kind of thing in our battle, and they use all these things because what they're trying to do is get these people brainwashed and on their side, so they can take control. And this is all about control, and it's sad. And back to when I was in college, I was on a basketball scholarship, and but I went to classes during the day. I practiced basketball. I played baseball in college too, and but I still worked a job. That's back in the day where you didn't go in and pump your own gas. You actually had somebody pump it for you.
Yeah.
I worked at a gas station pumping gas and not making very much money, but it helped me get through and pay for the other bills I had. Like even though I was in a fraternity, I had to pay a pretty good sized bill every year for that. And so people need to learn that they have to go out and they have to work in life, and they have to work hard. They have to learn things and persevere. And the other thing is, and I had lunch yesterday with a guy that's head of the IHSAA, Indiana High School Athletic Foundation here in Indiana, and we were talking about this stuff that they want to see education where more kids are involved in sports of different types and stuff like that, because they think it helps them move ahead in life, no matter what their, what type of job or future they're looking at, because it helps them learn how to be competitive in that. And I told him absolutely, and that's what's good, is getting kids out and doing more than just sitting in a classroom listening to teachers who have been brainwashed by the left for the last 40 years.
But how do we get rid, we've only got a couple of minutes left here, but how do we get rid, and I mean get rid of these sleazy, bottom-of-the-barrel teachers that are teaching that everybody ought to have a tin cup and stand on the corner and let somebody else feed them? How do we get rid of that education in our society?
Well, we've got to get right to work passed in every state and get these people out of the unions and going in and doing the things that are best for the kids and for themselves too.
Absolutely. Listen, one other quick note that I wanted to mention to you, and give me a short answer on this because I'm almost out of time, but I was just absolutely appalled at a magazine called Teen Vogue magazine that came out with an article recently telling pregnant teenage girls how to get abortions without telling their parents. We are going to, we're in a handbags right now in this country. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's, again, Zeb, and I keep coming back. You probably get tired of me saying it, but it's all about control, and, that's just another part of it. They look at every corner.
Absolutely. Listen, my dear friend, I hope you're having a good summer. I hope all is well with you and your family, and we always appreciate having you on the program. Dave Bego, author, great businessman, and besides that, a good friend. God bless you, man, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Well, same to you, Zeb, and thank you very much.
All right, sir. Take care. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, and I really appreciate him. Deanne just handed me a note, and Deanne, if you can come in here for a second, I want to make sure I get this correct. If you and your kids need to go to the bathroom during the parade, is that right? That starts in a little bit, 10:30. Cheney Flooring at 13th and Overland has working bathrooms, also free bottles of water in the cooler. And ignore the construction in the area and just go to Cheney Flooring at 13th and Overland. And I gotta go potty. They'll let you in. Okay, is that what he wanted to tell everybody? Okay, Kyle, got you covered. Thank you very much. Let's see, what else have we got here? Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Hey, I'll tell you what, they've got everything for the beautification and comfortization of your home at 459 Overland in Burley. There's nothing better than coming home after a long day and just kind of going to the living room and relaxing in the recliner. Oh, I got a wonderful recliner from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And they've got a whole herd of recliners. I mean, they've got one of the largest selections you've ever seen. And you got to go in and you got to try them on. I mean, there's recliners for short people, tall people, real skinny people, and then people like us. So please go on in there today at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More and check it all out, along with all the carpet buys and the luxury vinyl plank, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. Really, really, really good people. You stop in and see them today. Want to, excuse me, also mention as I clear my throat, pardon me, hay fever and allergy season. Let's ride. Oh, I've heard a rumor that the 2020 models are coming in. And you can save a bunch of money on the 2019 models at Let's Ride. All the side-by-sides, all the four-wheelers, all the watercraft, everything. Save money right now at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. What a fantastic showroom floor filled with fun. And then all the accessories. And then, of course, a service department to keep you running. Oh, yeah. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Absolutely where the fun is sold. Good people over there. And if you're over in that neck of the woods, or even if you're not, you can call and make an appointment to be over there. I urge you to get a hold of our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, we're talking life insurance. We're talking health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of these things that you need to make sure are intact and in force for you, your family, and your business. So check it out. Call them. Very accessible and devoted to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, that number for you to call, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. We are, I believe, going to go to the phone line right now, and we are very, very blessed to have with us the Florida Lieutenant Governor, Jennifer Carroll. Good morning, and how are you?
Top of the day to you, Zeb. Good morning, and how are you?
Well, I got to tell you something. You don't mind if I call you Jennifer, do you?
That's what my mother called me.
Then I feel very honored.
You're part of the family now, so go right ahead.
I feel very honored. You are, in my estimation, and all Floridians, are some of the toughest people ever on God's earth, because how do you stand that humidity in the summertime, or even in the spring? You are a tough person.
Yes, we are. We're tough cookies, but I tell you what, at least we have a nice breeze off of either the St. John's River or our beautiful beaches in St. Petersburg and Hollywood and down in Fort Lauderdale area. If we're in a city and we have tall high-rises, hardly any breeze is coming through.
Well, I got to tell you, I used to be in the rodeo business. I retired about 3 years ago. I'm an old man, and I announced rodeos all over this United States. And I know that when I would go in particular to announce Jacksonville, Florida, I'm not a small person, but I could go in there and it would be better than Nutrisystems because I could sweat off in 4 days 50 pounds.
I tell you what, maybe we ought to advertise the sun of Florida to be the new Nutrisystem, and it's all natural.
Oh, my goodness, it is. Listen, Jennifer, I am so appreciative that you're coming on the program, but we want to mention to everybody, you are the first female elected as Lieutenant Governor in Florida, and boy, that's something to really be proud of.
It is, and the first person of color to be elected statewide, and the first black Republican female to be elected to the Florida legislature.
Woo!
First, but in this 21st century, we shouldn't even be discussing that. It should be a norm.
You know, it really should be, and like I said, I'm just very proud to have you on the program, because there's another reason I wanted to talk to you this morning, and it was because I was alerted to the fact that you are very concerned about our Second Amendment, and it might go away and be overturned. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, little by little, the Democrats have been trying to chip away at our Second Amendment. And for one, besides our Second Amendment, we have to look at our constitutional rights and liberty and freedoms and liberties that's afforded to us with our Declaration of Independence and what our forefathers put in place to ensure that our republic stays afloat. And for that reason is why I also accepted the position as national spokesperson for Maggie's List, which is a political action committee that supports conservative women running for Congress. And in recent times, we've seen Emily's List, which is the counter to Maggie's List, the liberal political action committee, pour a bunch of money into female candidates under the Me Too movement, and that's what has birthed the AOCs of the world. And 106 women in the Senate and the House was elected to office in the last election cycle, where in the Republican side, our numbers dwindled down to 21 women that's currently serving in the House and Senate. So Maggie's List has stepped up to support conservative women, to stand up for our Constitution, to stand up for our rights of our citizens. And with every time there's a mass shooting, there's always the Democrats stepping out there to say, let's take away guns, the Second Amendment need to be abolished. And that is their only argument when these mass shootings occur. But if you look at the numbers for the amount of deaths based due to poison deaths without either poison or opioids, etc., that's exceeding over 75,000 deaths just in 2017 with the last statistics that are out there out of 243,000 deaths in this country. Vehicular deaths, 38,000. And deaths by firearm, that's whether it's mass shooting or not, 39,000. So when we look at these numbers, you wonder, why is it that the Democrats are always getting on the bandwagon when there's a mass shooting, which happens fewer than the shootings that happen in Baltimore and Los Angeles on a daily basis, and even St. Louis. But you don't see the Democrats and the media going into these neighborhoods to say, well, what's the social issues that's impacting and affecting the killing on race killing in these communities? Because that doesn't fit their narrative. Their narrative is to chip away at our Constitution to make it more like a banana republic. And with us supporting conservative women running for the Congress, we're going to be able to have these voices to be the counter to AOC's and Elon and the Nancy Pelosi's of the world and say enough is enough, because this is not what our country is all about.
Well, you brought it up, and boy, as you're talking, I got to tell you that I'm writing so fast my pen is red hot right now. I got to set it down for a minute. But you mentioned AOC, and you mentioned the squad, basically, Rashida and Ilhan and others. What about this? I am absolutely astounded that 4 women, freshmen, could go in and make such a dent in the Republican Party and their leadership, to where I've said many times on this program, those 4 women, in my opinion, are leading the Democratic Party right over the cliff, and nobody seems to care. What are your thoughts on those 4 women?
Well, I think it's by design. So this gives cover to all of the other Democrats who doesn't have to be as crazy as these three, the squad. So the squad can go out there and say outlandish things, and because they're new, and also too, they may even get primaried in there, and particularly AOC may get primaried, because it's very hard for Nancy Pelosi to lead these people. But with Nancy Pelosi having the majority currently in the House of Representatives, it gives her cover to really not rein them in, so to speak. If there was any other times where they didn't want Donald Trump to look bad, or have the Republicans look bad, or say that they are so pro-women and pro-LGBTQRST, they're so pro-everything else that's counter-American, then they have that cover for these women to go out and do and say these things. But we have to get back to common sense leadership. We have to get back to reasonable leadership. This is a republic. It's not a banana republic. It's a republic where the people are in charge and should be. So when the discussion comes up with regards to the gun control and taking away our Second Amendment, the people, the average citizen, should be the ones that the congressional members are going to asking, what are you seeing in your communities? What type of policies would you like us to put forward? Bring those policies back to the Congress, have proper committee meetings to have dialogue and conversation open and transparent, and pick what is going to be the smartest policy to move forward to bring about our safety and protection, with keeping the rights of citizens to have their arms for their hunting, for their recreation, for their protection, and not infringe upon our constitutional amendment and our right to bear arms.
Jennifer, why do you, I'm going to put you on the spot here just a little bit, and it's not meant to paint you into a corner, but I really would like to hear your answer. Why do you think we are seeing in this country more of the mass shootings? What is there, or what has been taken away from our society, that makes someone want to pick up a gun and just walk into a room or walk into a school or sit on the freeway? What does this to people to want to just all of a sudden wantonly kill mass numbers?
Well, it's a complex. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, we've had mass shootings for years. But the thing about it, one thing that I've seen in recent times is the opportunity for these individuals to be put on TV. They get their name in light. We're talking about them all the time. They're on social media, and everybody wants to be a star. And unfortunately, that's a star in the wrong direction. That's number one. Number two, I remember, and you're probably my age, back in our day, we didn't have this much idle time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have time to sit there on our computer and our cell phone with our thumbs twiddling at something and having idle conversation and having this angst and you can't even have a conversation of disagreement and walk away to live the next day. We had to dump the trash, mow the lawn, help our parents clean up, whatever it may be, but we were working.
Yes.
And then you were engaged in sports and physical activities that's after school, and then you had to do your homework. And much of that has gone away. So our kids and our young people are out there with a bunch of idle time, and also, too, we've softened down our society, where you can't even you can't feel offended and say, okay, I'm offended, and I walk away. I'm not going to interrupt your right to have a free speech. I have to kill you in the process of doing so. So somewhere along the line, we've gone away from fundamentals. And we have to get back to that. We have to toughen up our skin a little bit and not be so offended by everything and blame. And we become a blameful society. Everybody's to blame rather than the person who's doing it. For example, the gun is to blame because this person picked it up or got it illegally on the street or became a gang member, and it's the gun's problem. No, we have societal problems. We have single-family homes. Not to say that every single-family home is going to bring this, but when we have the males outside of the society that's not raising or not being there to be a role model for their boys, we have joblessness in many communities. We have dilapidation. We have gangs, MS-13 and other gangs have populated some of our metropolitan areas. Those are greater issues that the Congress should be working on and not trying to take away people's constitutional rights.
Right now, Congress is suffering, and I might say they've deserved this suffering, but are not doing anything or not being able to get anything done and afraid to tackle the issues, especially illegal immigration coming into this country. How are we? I guess I'm going to ask you another how are we question. How are we going to turn this thing around? The Democratic Party is bent on giving free college, free Medicare for all, and absolutely anti-God policies within their party. How do we turn this thing around? I'm scared to death that for some reason Donald Trump might not win re-election, and we're going to have somebody like Kamala Harris, or good heavens no, Cory Booker, or even worse yet, wild-haired Bernie take over as president.
Well, that's just it. Donald Trump is going to win, period. That's number one. Number two, we have to get back the Senate. We can, and we have to get back. We have to increase our majority in the Senate, and we have to take back the House. This is why it's important for every voter that believes in this country, believe in its sovereignty, believe that we have greater days to come ahead, and we cannot get there with a socialist agenda, that they have to step forward and commit to going out and voting, cannot assume that someone has it in the bag. They cannot be a one-issue person either. We have one-issue people that if the candidate, if I agree with the candidate on 80% of things and just this 20% is my one issue and I'm not going to vote in that person, so I'm going to vote for the other person that I have nothing in agreement with, that is a wrong methodology in voting. The Democrats have seen a way that they are not increasing their ranks with addition. And in order to win, you have to increase with addition. They're seeing that the only way that they can appeal to voters is to give them free stuff. That free stuff is not a machine that's cranking out money in Washington, D.C. The free stuff comes from people that are getting up on a daily basis, going to work, paying their taxes, and being overtaxed in many instances. They're being double and triple taxed. They put their savings, their retirement money, all of that, once they pull it out, they're going to be taxed again on monies that already was taxed when they earned it. And that's what people have to understand, that the stuff that people are saying they're going to give away free is not free. Someone, which is a person, is the machine that's going to be working hard every day trying to put out additional dollars into the system that's going to be going to other people that have not earned their way. And we have to push back on this illegal immigrants that's coming in, and the Democrats want to give them everything from free housing, the food stamps and everything else under the sun, even college. You can't even go state lines and get free college in another state or get state tuition in another state if you're an American citizen. But if you're illegal, many states are making that fine for it to happen, and that should not in our country. So Americans really need to wake up and not say it's somebody else's problem. It's all of our problems, regardless of what state you're in, that collectively we are the United States.
You know, let me ask you this, Jennifer. Is it difficult, underline that word difficult, to go out and find conservative women that are willing to speak up, speak out, and talk about the issues and try to get things straightened out? Is it hard for you regarding Maggie's List to find conservative women that want to get in the fray and try to make things better?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, we have a wonderful candidate that we just endorsed in our 2020 election, Susan Boutique in New Jersey, and hopefully people in New Jersey will get behind her, because we have a great list of, in 36 states we have co-chairs, and our co-chairs are going out recruiting, finding, and giving us individuals to support on the Maggie's List. It is a political action committee that we do take donations to support, financially support, and endorse these female candidates running for Congress. We have bright, smart, intelligent, articulate leaders in our women candidates. The problem comes where typically the men have a full machine of financial supporters backing them. They have already paved the way, so to speak, throughout the years, getting people, including the party, to line up behind them. So we have to do the same thing for our female candidates. We have to get them through the primary. We have to train them in campaigning. We have to get behind them financially, get behind them and support them even after they get elected, because we have to get them in positions of leadership as well and support them in that endeavor. So it's not hard at all for us to find these conservative women to run for Congress, but we do have to have the financial resources to help support them and catapult them to get elected.
What about you? Again, putting you on the spot a little bit, what are your political aspirations over and above being the Lieutenant Governor of Florida?
Well, I was formerly a state representative. I served for 7 years in the Florida legislature as lieutenant governor, and my passion and will right now is to impart my knowledge and experience upon the young bucks that are coming up, the young ladies that are putting themselves on the line here to run good campaigns and to want to step up and to be future leaders. I firmly believe that we need to turn over all of our knowledge that we've received. I see a lot of older folks, well, particularly the guys, they run for this, run for that, perpetual runners, and they never really groom and get others, younger ones, younger leaders to step up and take over the helm. And I think that's what our party is also lacking, besides the diversity aspect of our women being in the Congress, but also to our refreshing of ideas and new leadership to bring about a better governance than we have right now.
I'll tell you what, you are a breath of fresh air. Just about the time I get down in the dumps and go, oh, woe is me, someone like you pops up, and I am excited. You are just absolutely excellent, and I wish you the very best. Also, I hope you'll come back on my program in the future.
Absolutely, Zeb. Thank you for what you do, and God bless you.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll, a wonderful lady, and we will have you back. Thank you. God bless. Thank you much. Wow, I'm pretty impressed with her. I'm really impressed with her. And she tells it like it is, and she goes into my file of return calls to where I'm going to call and have her back on the program. And she's the first female elected as Lieutenant Governor in Florida and the first African-American and Caribbean elected statewide. Former Executive Director of Florida Department of Veterans Affairs, a Navy veteran, and retired as a highly decorated commander. Woo! I'm telling you, remember the name. You're going to hear a lot more about her, Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll of Florida. Right now, it's time for the weather, and away we go, sailing off into the blue waters of our Idaho weather. Caller, stand by just 60 seconds. I'll be right with you. Do not go away. Please, I'll be right there. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do. Tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. I'm telling you, they've got 2 offices in Burley and Rupert serving you. Please get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's a nice day for a parade. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, high of about 90 with a slight breeze out of the south at about 8 miles an hour. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies, high of 88. The wind is going to be picking up as we move through tomorrow night, mostly clear skies, and wind gusts could be as high as 32 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 55. For Friday, sunny skies, still a little bit on the breezy side with a high of 83, and as we look towards the weekend, looks like sunny skies and upper 80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebit Duran.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. Brought to everyone by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I know these people, and they are good at serving you. Whether your business is in agriculture, manufacturing, food production, construction, whatever, they can and they will help you at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, you've been very patient. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I'm not very patient, but I was listening to you. I am so excited to hear that about Florida. I have a niece who is in her early 40s, and she is a fiscal in Florida, and she is a Republican. I would venture to guess that she's missed this lady. And I'm so excited to hear that, because women can be leaders in so many diverse ways now. Thank goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I want to say that I stumbled on having that interview with Jennifer Carroll. I had never heard of her before, quite frankly, and all of a sudden one of our liaisons that works with us and for us as far as trying to find political guests on programs contacted us, and my wife handed me that note, and she said, "This sounds like a very interesting lady," and I'll guarantee you, Chris, she's going to come back on our show. And I'll say one other thing quickly, and then you can respond. I think you're going to hear a lot more of that name, Jennifer Carroll.
I believe so, because did you say she's African American?
She is, but she absolutely has done so much outside of politics, being in the military, being a small business owner and everything, and believe me, she knows what's going on. I found her to be exciting to talk to.
Well, and you know what makes me so happy? That here we are in our times, and we're experiencing it. I think that for years and years and years, the Democrats have thought that the black people are their possession. And I think that there's a lot of black people that are waking up. And look at the leadership on the national side that the Republicans have had, who are African American, and I think that the Democrats should be worried.
They better be.
And I hope that they don't. I hope they don't, because I think they need to go to sleep on that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. It's always good to hear from you again. Thank you so much for your call this morning. God bless. Thank you. Thank you.
Having her as a guest.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Once again, Kyle Cheney called and wanted to let everybody know, and this is kind of cute. I like the way he phrased this. Cheney Flooring at 13th and Overland in Burley. They have working bathrooms. Hooray! And if your kid needs to go to the bathroom during the parade, stop over to Cheney Flooring. And they also have free bottles of water in the cooler. So all you need to do is just stop in there. I think this is great. Kyle, God bless you, man. Thank you very much. And a lot of parents are going, woo, a lifesaver. I love that. Parade's coming up at 10:30 this morning, as a matter of fact. I've got a little change in the format here this morning. And what we're going to tell you about right now, we normally mention on Thursdays. But tomorrow I will not be on the air. Sharon Hardy, I did it again. Sharon Wilmot. I've got to refer to her by her real now name. I'm sorry, Sharon. Sharon's going to be on. I've asked her to sub for me tomorrow. And so I'm going to take care of today. If you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, all the delicious different shakes, all the different flavors, all the different types of burgers like that famous Farmer Brown burger with some fries and a special sauce and a shake. Oh, knock your boots off, delicious. You're going to love the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Oberlin in Burley, one of the great places to go to get together with your friends in the morning for coffee. And how about with that coffee, a breakfast burrito, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, onions, tomato sauce on a tortilla shell. Oh my, that's great. You're going to love all the food at Taco Bandito. Well, how about not one, but two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got strawberry shakes. And listen to this. After 3 p.m. in the afternoon, corn dogs and burritos, only $1.39. Woo-hoo! You better stay hungry and get in there and enjoy. And great food, nice people every day at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, we want to talk about Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. The patio's open in the summertime, of course. Great music on the weekends. You can enjoy your dinner and music and friends. Wow. You got to try those delicious buffalo burgers and the cheesy broccoli spuds. Say that fast 5 times. And don't forget nice people serving you at Steve-O's. 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Good. And those are just a few great places to go if you are hungry and starving to death. Let me take a look here real quick. I've also got to mention before I send it over to Wheels about our friends at Patterson's on East Main in Burley. Oh my goodness, if you're headed to the Cache County Fair, be sure and stop in there for all your electronic needs. Home theater systems, videos, surveillance cameras, and car stereos and speakers, all the complete sound systems. Wow, and televisions, Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. You better go in and talk to these really nice people. It's true, they are your electronic needs headquarters. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they're located at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena, and the number to call Patterson, 678-6997. 678-6997, Patterson's in Burley. And right now we're going to send it over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. Wednesday, August the 14th. My. Summer fading fast. But today, of course, in just about, 25 minutes, they're going to kick off the great big Cache County Fair and Rodeo Parade. Don't miss that. Hey, I want to remind you that we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best and safest of tires for your driving needs. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Along with Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. We have so many dedicated advertisers and sponsors. We're really appreciative. And one of them, absolutely, that when I called, it's been a couple years, I think now, they were absolutely ready to come on the program, and we really appreciate Dino's Septic Service. They do the job that you and I don't want to do. On these summer days, you don't want to stand out there pumping out a septic tank. No. And liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines clean. They do it with a big smile on their face, along with a lot of other services. Septic tank and drain fields installed, water and sewer lines installed. My goodness, call them today. Fast, fair, friendly service, 436-6526 or 678-1638. Dino's Septic Service, with that big truck that says, smells cargo, on the way, serving you. Also, I got to really quick get this on before we go to our fishing show. Stand by. I want to remind everybody about a big sale that's going to take place on this Saturday over at Glenn's Ferry and managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to be the Jerry and June Peterson sale. It's 11 o'clock Saturday morning, this coming Saturday, August 17th, in Glenn's Ferry, and the address 1882 Mackey Lane. Please follow the signs. There'll be plenty of them. This is an excellent sale. Welding and shop equipment, and they made a note here that said lots and lots of good shop equipment and tools, and lots of great miscellaneous shop equipment that you just don't want to miss. This sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, one of my favorite segments during the course of the summer has been the Old Fishing Hole, and that's, of course, been sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. And with us, the number one fisherman, Josh Anderson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good, Zeb. We're on our way back. Beautiful day.
Oh, my goodness. Now, earlier this morning, we talked to you, and you said you were going to be fishing Lake Walcott. So bring us up to speed. Tell us what you did.
It was really warm, or gets really warm in the middle of the day, so we left pretty early this morning, got out there before the light came up. And fishing was, pretty spectacular for most part of what I was expecting being the dead of summer. I thought fishing was going to be pretty tough, but we caught quite a few fish. The plastic bite was going pretty good. We had a full moon last night, and once the sun hit the water, it drastically slowed down, but we were fishing from shore, so I assume with this hot weather, those fish just kind of moved off into deeper water, try to find a shadow somewhere.
Well, now, when you said full moon, how much does that come into play with good fishing?
So I think it's just a matter of perspective. I think with the full moon, with me, what I've historically seen, it seems to push the bite earlier in the morning and later in the evening, or even at night. And I think with this really hot weather, a lot of the feeding goes on nocturnally.
Okay, now, Lake Walcott, I've got to tell you, I've never been over there to go fishing. I can't wait to try it. What can a person expect to go for as far as fishing in Lake Walcott? What are the different species available over there?
There's all sorts of species in that Snake River coming downstream from American Falls. I mean, you could probably catch anything from a perch to a squawfish, like a Utah chub, or a rainbow trout or a bass. I think the most targeted fish are going to be the rainbow trout and the bass. There's brown trout in there, cutthroats. Just depending on your section there below American Falls, you can just about, you don't know what you got until you end up having it on the end of your line and you see it.
Now, did you do all your fishing from the shore or a boat?
Ashore today. We just fished off the bank. We tried some swim baits and crankbaits earlier in the morning, but really the plastic bite was where it was at. Basically, like a 4-inch rubber worm or a 3-inch pumpkin, like tube bait, worked along the bottom, seemed to catch a few fish.
Okay, you know what, I got to tell you, back in Wisconsin where I was raised, we kind of lazy fished. You know, we'd go to the river or we'd go over to Lake Ripley or whatever, and we just kind of cast our line out in the water, let it go, sit back, cross our knees, and just sit there and go, hope the fish bite. It's a nice day. Can you do that over at Lake Walcott?
Oh, definitely. There's times that we've taken the family and get out on a little point there and cast a few rods out and with like a worm and a marshmallow and power bait, and then sat there and threw frisbees around because there was a nearby frisbee golf basket for their frisbee golf course in the park there, and we had a 8-year-old boy catch about a 5-pound rainbow trout, just kind of messing around, having a little barbecue.
Oh my goodness! You know, I was always going
to fish as hard as you want, or get out there and you have a good opportunity catching a fish just being lazy.
No, I love that. Hey, listen, I was always going to ask you on these segments, what about the problem, and I'm assuming that you would consider it a problem too, of the growing number of carp and suckers. Would you address that this morning?
Well, and I mean, it's nice forage, but they do get big pretty fast to where they can't get eaten. It definitely directly competes with our rainbow trout and our bass and the species of fish that we've chose to like to pursue. I'm all for the guys going out and having the bow fishing tournaments and trying to put a dent in the population. It is one of those that a lot of people misinterpret that they are just a bottom feeder. They definitely, in the banks, when they spawn, they dig up the shoreline and create a lot of more silt in the water, which isn't very good for spawning habitat, and they eat a lot of crayfish and other fish that our predator-type game fish would rather eat. It's surprising how many other fish those carp eat when they start getting 20 and 30 pounds.
Let me ask you a naive question, though, Josh. Why are they, the suckers and the carp, why are they so prominent?
It's more of just the habitat, and for them, they eat a lot of, like, crayfish, and they spawn. When they spawn, they dump a ton of eggs, a lot more than, like, another. I mean, I couldn't give direct quotes on how many eggs that they'd have in them, but they definitely are very fluent in their reproduction, where other fish, depending on the habitat and the temperature of the water, and that some of their spawning habitats and habits aren't as proficient. And then with water fluctuation in the spring and timing of the spawn, a lot of times can definitely directly affect fish if their eggs come out of water when they drop the water to do work on a reservoir. And it's just, they're an interesting fish that can definitely take over a reservoir pretty quickly.
You know, one last final thought here this morning. I was visiting with the Fish and Game on my program not too many weeks ago, and they were saying that there may be an opportunity of putting some muskies, I think you and I have talked about this once, but putting some muskies in various waters here in southern Idaho. Whoa! I mean, if you've ever caught a muskie back on the Great Lakes, that is quite a fish.
Yeah, they put them in Dog Creek Reservoir over by Gooding. Historically, I'd have to look at stocking records. I don't think they've done it in the last few years, but they have stocked them over there for sure. And I believe the next closest place to us is in like northern Utah down by Pineview. But I would be all for seeing them planting some sterile type muskies in different waterways to possibly even improve a habitat where they have like an abundance of a bunch of small fish.
Now, when you say improve habitat, explain that just a little bit for me. How would the muskies be a positive?
Within the way they eat them, I guess, when you have a massive number of fish in a waterway, what ends up happening is it stunts their growth, and you'll have a ton of fish, but they'll all be really small.
I see.
And if you can remove a few of those fish, the other fish have to grow big to either survive, but plus there would be more food for those fish to eat to get big. When they start getting small, they can definitely eat everything that's available, and then when they overpopulate a waterway, they end up, all small, and a bunch of them, where for me, I'd rather catch, 4 or 5 big fish than 100 little ones.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you ever caught a muskie?
I have not personally, no.
Or any of its family, like the northern pike or anything like that?
Yeah, the pike, yes, but that was in Nevada, and they were relatively small. And I guess they were an invasive species in that waterway, so they were trying to remove them.
All right, well, listen, I've got to ask you this. There's so much going on right now at Sportsman's Warehouse. We're kind of caught between 2 seasons, fishing season and hunting season. Tell us about some of the great specials at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Oh, we got some rifle scopes on sale, in that $200 range. That would be very adequate. We've got a Ruger American rifle, I believe, that's $500. That it'd be a great starter rifle. So with all your ammo, case, and everything, if you're new to hunting, you could probably walk out of the store with a very good rifle, good scope, and everything for under $1,000 with all the accessories and all the ammunition if you were a new-time hunter. Pretty affordable. Most of us will try to do it one at a time, buy the scope here, buy the rifle there, but if you were just to jump into it, that's about the most affordable way I've ever seen it done, and still have high quality equipment. We also have some camping specials. We don't actually have anything in the fishing department in our hunting ad this go around, but if anybody mentions the Zeb Bell radio show and comes and finds me, I'll make him a deal.
You have been so easy to work with on this fishing show, and you have so much knowledge. I really hate to see it come to a close for this summer, but if they want more information, how can they talk personally to you, Josh, at Sportsman's Warehouse? What hours are you there?
They just give us a call between 9 and 9, Monday through Saturday. I personally open on the weekends and close during the week, and I'm off today and tomorrow. So, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or on the weekend, give me a call there at 737-9900, and just dial into the fishing department, and we'll try to take care of you the best we can.
Oh, yeah, I know you will. The man is living the dream, and that's Josh with Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Josh, you've been a blessing. God bless you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb, and you have a great time, and I hope to hear from you next year.
You will, my friend, you will. Thank you very much. He is an outstanding individual. I've known him now for a couple of years, putting together the information on this fishing show, and you go in there to Sportsman's Warehouse, and he's just absolutely so amenable to answering questions and helping people. I urge you to stop in and see Josh at Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard. He's just right now waiting to serve you. Absolutely. Don't forget the big Cache County Fair and Rodeo Parade coming up, as a matter of fact, in just a matter of minutes at 10:30. And I want to mention some of the great, great sponsors and advertisers and merchants that want you to attend the Cache County Fair. They include Kelly's Bearings at 1407 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes. You'll know where you're at when you get your bearings at Kelly's. I love that. Stop in and see Zach or Brett, the bearing specialist at Kelly Bearings at 1407 East Main in Burley. Let's not forget our friends at Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley, 678-3101. Jeff and the crew offering irrigation system service and repair since 1978. They're the best, and they will help you at Magic Valley Irrigation. Hello, Jeff. And don't forget Mountain Transmissions at 1146 East Main in Burley. Old Rick and the crew over there helping you with your transmissions. They're right across the street from Stokes Market. Don't forget, free towing within 50 miles with any major repair, free towing, free diagnostic, free estimates, Mountain Transmissions. Number to call, 678-9110. Let's go to the phone line right now. And with us on the phone is a lovely lady, and we're going to say good good morning to Kelly Wiggins over at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you today?
I've been busy trying to get everything on time. And fortunately, I looked at the clock, and I'm actually a minute early talking to you, so things are looking up.
Here we go.
Hey, you and I talked the other day, and I want to mention this to all the audience in Wheels. We got a little bit of feedback right there, if you would. You're going to be hosting an open house over at Greystone Crossing on the 22nd. Tell us all about that, please.
Well, I'm kind of excited about it because we're going to join your lunch bunch for lunch that day over at Denny's. And then directly following that, from 1 till 4 o'clock, we're going to just be open for tours here at Greystone Crossing. So whether you're part of the lunch bunch and you head right over, or and you can head right over right after lunch if it's earlier than 1, or you're just out and about, stop in and we'll show you around the place.
You know, I'm excited about this, and to tell the audience, you and I talked here a couple of days ago, and talked about visiting with our friends at the lunch bunch, and then after everybody's done eating and we've given our door prizes away, we'll kind of head over to your location. What makes Greystone Crossing so unique? You tell us in your words.
Well, it's a halfway house, I'm going to say today. It's for independent seniors who don't need nursing care. They don't need the full services of assisted living, but they need some help. Here at Greystone Crossing, they have their own room, their own private entrance, their own place for their own special memorabilia and familiar items and furniture. But we provide the meals. So they get 3 homemade meals a day plus snacks. We provide their housekeeping, and we provide local transportation. And so it's the difference between being able to stay home longer in a home environment, even though it may not be your home, but not paying for services that you don't need yet in full assisted living care.
Let me ask you a question in regards to the rent and financing. If they have questions, I'm sure you've got options available for seniors, correct?
We do, and I'm excited to announce something new that I'll get to here in just a second. But we are $1,800 a month, and there's very little reason that your bill would be increased beyond that. And that's 40% off of what you would pay for in an assisted living. Mm-hmm. And so that's really important. Our retirement dollars can go longer, and we're just not paying for services that we don't need yet we're in a safe environment. This month, and we've just been open 2 weeks, and we've decided to take one of our rooms and open it up for trial runs. So a senior, if they're considering, maybe I need to leave home, but I don't want to go into nursing care, I don't need that, and I just want to check out Greystone Crossing, we're offering 3 days and 2 nights to just come visit us. And during that time, you would get 3 meals a day, or 9 meals over those 3 days, and enjoy our facility, see what it would be like to live here and to stay over, and we can take you out shopping if you want your transportation on that day, and just to kind of see what it would be like before you actually move in. And
oh, my.
To try when you're considering looking for a place or looking for a place for mom, that we just want to put our socks on before we wear them.
You know, the thing is, it's a big transition in anyone's life. And when a senior, it's a little tough staying at home. It's a little tough taking care of the chores around the house and everything. They need to consider and have the rest of the family perhaps look at this and call you today, correct?
Yes, you can get a hold of us at 650-4979. We'll always make time for a personal tour. We do need to do those by appointment, and we'd be happy to host you for that. I think as far as the caregiver goes, the most important thing that I can stress is safety and community. Mom or dad aren't by themselves all day long. We've got people around. Their neighbor is next door instead of across the lawn. Mm-hmm. And it just sets for a time where maybe we can reduce depression. We can reduce being in a solitary environment that increases sadness during those times. Also, with our meals, we're independent, but we don't necessarily eat right because I can't lift this pot from the stove to the counter anymore. And so just having good, well-balanced meals. In fact, our little tenant that we have right now, she just says that I'm overfeeding her. And I take that as a compliment. And that the meals are just real enjoyable. And then the safe environment, keeping things picked up that are kind of hard to bend over and pick up sometimes, and clean, and the garbage taken out in just a clean environment. So you're right. Coming by, getting a hold of us at 650-4979 is the best way, and we're just happy to host you anytime.
The thing that I like about the concept of Greystone Crossing is the family friend atmosphere. Like you said, they're right across the hall or they're right next door or whatever, and you develop kind of a new circle of friends that you're dining with, you're visiting with, and maybe you need to go downtown and take care of some errands, and they could go along. I mean, this is really kind of a home family situation.
It is. It's a 12-bedroom, 14-bathroom home, and we tootle around here like we're at home. We help each other with laundry if it's needed, working on, visiting while we're preparing meals and eating meals, and enjoying a show together or an audio tape. And so it's just a real family-friendly environment, too. When your company comes, they can come straight to your room, or you can host them in our private dining room. Let the kids color on some color pages, the grandkids or great nephews and nieces, and while we visit, and have a snack with us.
Folks, I urge you to remember, put it on your calendar for next Thursday, the 22nd. Matt and Kelly will be visiting with us at Lunch Bunch at Denny's, and then we're going to tour the open house at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on El Fresco Road. Kelly, thank you so much. I'll give the number one last time for the folks to call you, 650-4979. Thanks for being on the program this morning.
You're welcome, Zeb. Appreciate you, and we'll see you Thursday.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice people with a great concept at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. Absolutely. That number again, 650-4979. We're going to send this over to Wheels in just a moment. Wheels, I'm sure that you have some commercials that you need to play, even though we don't have a full segment at the bottom of the hour. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't have any funeral announcements today, and so it would just come back right to you after the thing for Rasmussen's funeral.
All right, why don't you go ahead with that, and then we'll get our guest with the Pacific Legal on the air. How's that?
All right, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, my. Real quick before I go to my guest, I've got to remind you a couple of public service announcements. Don't forget the Rupert United Methodist Church is going to have their annual ice cream social at the Rupert United Methodist Church at 605 8th Street in Rupert, Sunday, August 25th at 5 p.m. Homemade ice cream and cake. I'll be there. Don't forget, make friends and enjoy the fun and all the surrounding folks at the Rupert United Methodist Church annual ice cream social on August 25th. And also the Minidoka County Senior Center, they've got raffle tickets available now for a flat screen TV, barbecue grill, small chest freezer with gift cards to purchase the meat at the Minidoka County Senior Center. Buy one ticket for $2, get 3 tickets for $5. Call 436-9107. All right, those are a couple of the public service announcements we've got to get on the air this morning, and the Cassia County Parade should be, for the Fair and Rodeo, underway right now as we speak, as a matter of fact. And we'll go to the phone line right now and say good morning to Pacific Legal Foundation's Tim Snowball. Tim, how are you? Is Tim there? Wheels, do we have Mr. Snowball?
Yes, sir, we do. I had to call a different number.
All right, sir. Appreciate it. Good morning, Attorney Tim Snowball. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Good morning to you.
Tim, we were reading a story the other day, and I called your office and talked to Brad about California law that keeps workers ignorant of their constitutional rights. What in the world are we talking about here?
Sure. So you've got thanks so much for having me on. Basically, you've got a case back in the 1970s called Abood, which was a case dealing with public unions and payments to public unions. The Supreme Court had stepped in and said, okay, look, we can't force people to join a union against their will. That violates the First Amendment. But what we're going to do is we're going to say you can either join a union, pay the full union dues, or if you're still somebody who's a worker who's represented by the union but you don't want to join up, we're going to have you pay a certain percentage of dues, which we'll call an agency fee, that, you still have to contribute something to the union if you're getting a benefit from representation. This was a big exception to the First Amendment idea of the freedom of association, that you can't be forced to give money to an organization against your will. It's a violation of your speech rights. And so the Abood case in the 70s was much reviled by civil libertarians for decades. Finally, last year in 2018, you have a case called Janus, and the Janus case was seen as a huge victory for workers across the United States and across California, my home state. So basically, in Janus, the court stepped in and said, hey, we kind of screwed up in the 1970s. We didn't get it right. You can't actually force a worker to give money to a union against their will. They don't have an obligation to opt out of such payments. These payments can't be compulsory. Instead, they have to affirmatively opt in to making these kinds of payments, and the onus is on the employer to see that waiver, to confirm that waiver with their employees. I'm not sure how it is out there in Idaho, but here in the state of California, we have a Democratic supermajority that relies upon union support for their political activities, for political donations, and so not only in California but across the country, you see this reaction to the Janus decision, where different states step in and go, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to help our union allies out to retain their power to make sure this money keeps flowing? So you have certain states say, okay, well, public workers, we're going to let you opt out of the obligation to pay this money, but we're only going to let you do it for 30 days a year. You've got this 30-day window. You can step in and you can opt out, but if you don't get that 30-day window, sorry, you're locked in. Or, well, we'll let you opt out anytime you want, but you have to send these very specific forms to very specific locations, and if you don't get it exactly right, then you're not going to be able to opt out. Fast forward to California. So it turns out California state government has a bill prepared called SB 866, sitting on the desk of former Governor Brown, just waiting to be signed on the day that Janus is decided. The Supreme Court steps in, affirms workers' First Amendment rights. Governor Brown says, okay, we're going to sign SB 866 into law. And it's probably the worst example of this kind of shifting around the Janus decision that I've come into contact with or that I've seen. Basically, SB 866 is a communicative prohibition between employers and employees. The way this works is, let's say you're a public employee who finds out about the Janus decision and goes, well, gosh, I don't have to make these payments anymore. I don't want to make them. You walk down the hall to your HR or your payroll person, and you say, hey, I saw that there was this case. I don't have to take these payments anymore. Can you please adjust that on my paycheck? That person has to go, sorry, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you about this. There's a state statute that says you have to go talk to the union. And you go, well, I don't want to talk to the union. I want to talk to you. Sorry, the state statute says I can't give you any information about this.
Oh, my.
So, of course, you go and you speak to the union, which has a financial incentive to see that you remain a member and remain making these payments. And the union says, yeah, we know there was that case, but, you signed this piece of paper before the case was even decided saying that you would make these payments till 2022 or 2025. So we're going to go ahead and keep you locked in until then, but don't worry about it. We'll discuss it again at that point. And it's a really egregious, violation not only of the First Amendment, but really the spirit of the Janus decision, which was that each individual retains the right to choose for themselves whether to give money to a union. And so Pacific Legal Foundation and Liberty Justice Center in partnership have filed a case on behalf of a couple of employees at the University of California, San Diego, really pushing back on this state statute.
You know, this is mind-boggling to me. It sounds like you leave one office and you're told to go see another office, and you get into that office and you're given a hard sell to stay and remain with the union. You want out. You don't know where to go. You feel like a white mouse on a treadmill. What are the answers? I mean, what kind of arbitration, or where can they go to get help now besides you?
Well, that's really that's really the question. I mean, the analogy that I've been using is, because everyone has seen Law and Order, everyone has seen police, crime drama shows. There's a reason why, when you're arrested under suspicion of having committed a crime, that the police officer has to tell you about your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Everyone's heard the speech. You have a right to remain silent. If you choose to waive that right and speak to me, we can use that against you in court. Basically, putting you on notice of what your rights are so that you can effectively exercise them. Well, it's the same principle here. I mean, our clients in San Diego, Mike Jackson and Torrey Smith, just happened to hear about the Janus case. I think one of them heard about it on the radio a couple of months later, and one of them saw it on a local TV news broadcast. I mean, I don't think that's what the founders had in mind, for us to have to rely upon local media or reading newspapers in order to find out what our civil rights are. At minimum, you would imagine that public employers like the University of California and San Diego would have to at least give some minimal notice to their employees that this right exists so they can effectively exercise it. And so there's the issue there, not only of them not being able to get information from their employer about what their rights are, but there's a whole other layer, as you mentioned, about having to send them to the union. I mean, imagine that someone thinks they're being discriminated against in the realm of housing.
Right.
So they go to their state commission on civil rights, and they say, hey, I'm being discriminated against, I believe, based upon my race or some other characteristic in housing, and I really need you all to step in and to champion my rights. And the state commission on civil rights saying, ooh, sorry, I can't talk to you about that. I'm not allowed to give you any information about equal protection. Here, why don't you go talk to your landlord? And the person says, well, my landlord is the one who I think is violating my rights. Can you help me? No, sorry. We have this state statute that says you have to go talk to your landlord about that, and you go deal with it yourself. And it really just, like I mentioned, flies in the face of what I think that the Janus case requires. And our clients in San Diego, Mike Jackson and Torrey Smith, that was very much their experience. They found out about the case. They first went to the payroll representative in their department at UCSD, and the person said, I can't talk to you about this, unfortunately. You have to go talk to the union. They send a letter to the union. The union sends them back kind of a fluff response. Oh, yeah, well, sorry, you signed a paper till 2022, but here, we'll give you like a boilerplate letter, telling you how great it is, how many benefits you're deriving from union membership. They sent another letter, even a follow-up email letter to the school, and the school, again, specifically citing to the state statute, says, sorry, we can't give you any information about this because of the state statute, SB 850.
Wow.
Now don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-union. No one I know working in this area is anti-union. What we are is workers' First Amendment rights. The unions have been making arguments for decades about the benefits that they give to the public and the benefits they give to society writ large. And I think in large part that is correct, that public unions are going to serve a vital democratic purpose. But here's the thing. If that's true, if they are giving all of these benefits to individual workers and to society, then they should feel comfortable making that case to individual workers and letting them have the choice of whether or not to join or whether or not to give money to a union. The fact of the matter is they don't do that. They along with their political allies, craft legislation like this to force people to be members or to keep them in the dark about their constitutional rights. And so if they have to use the power of the state and coercion in order to force people to do this, something tells me they don't feel as confident in their proclamations in regards to benefits that they should.
Let me ask you this, Tim, and you're the expert on this far, far more than I, but was there a point in time in our history of the United States, I'm not in condemnation of unions, my dad was a strong, strong union man, but was there a point in time within the last 50 years when all of a sudden some of the honesty, some of the integrity, and some of the way they treated people went down the drain, and the unions took on a bad and evil face?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I wouldn't go so far as evil, but what I will draw out for you and your readers is the distinction, I think the important distinction between public unions and private unions, of course, because there are unions operating in both spheres. So, for example, in a private union, let's say a private union's operating in an industry, right? It's not government related, it has nothing to do with government. And there's some kind of labor dispute, or they're renegotiating a collective bargaining agreement, and the union representatives and the managers from that company or that business come together to the negotiation table to hash out what the plan is going to be. There's a natural cap on what the manager or the CEO can offer to the employees. It's like, look, here's how much revenue we have coming in. We're a business. Here's how much we can, realistically offer in terms of salary or benefits to these employees. We just don't have an unlimited fund of money such that we can meet any demand because we're operating in the realm of private business. Now switch over to public unions. That natural ceiling, that concern is lifted. It's gone because unions survive based upon the public coffer. Think about the ability of state representatives or politicians to raise tax revenue. The ability of unions to negotiate for these benefits are limitless because they're based upon the idea of a public budget. And so then you have situations like here in California with unions like the California Teachers Association, the CTA, or other large unions in the state where over the years they've just negotiated all of these benefits and all of these guaranteed retirement, at age 55 or different systems in place that have really already put pressure upon our already cash-strapped budgetary process here in the state, such that, for example, a few years ago in the city of San Diego, my hometown, you had something like $1 billion budget shortfall because of the promises that they had made to government workers in regards to their retirement benefits. And they went, well, wow, we're obligated now by law to meet this requirement, but we didn't realize at the time how quickly this was going to stack up. And so I think that there's a natural incentive on the parts of unions to advocate zealously on behalf of their members. That's why they exist. That's why they have statutory authority. But I think the flip side, the unintended flip side, I think I've talked to you, Zeb, about this before. When you're looking at public policy, you always have to look at what the results are.
Right.
Just look about what the intentions of the people are, if they have good, rosy intentions. I watch the Democratic debates, and I go, half these people probably mean well, right? But I don't really care how great their intentions are. What I'm interested in is what actual effect these policies have on their constituents and on the country. And so something like this, you go, yeah, the unions are advocating for their members, but at the end of the day, they're having an unintended bad consequences for the entire state in the case of California or anywhere else in the country.
One of the unions that comes to mind in recent times that has been under scrutiny and, quite frankly, I'm not sure that everything is on the up and up, and that's the SEIU and some of their affiliations with their membership, some of their problems. This is just something else that the public needs to know and be aware of as far as joining a union, being a part of a union or not. Would you agree?
Yeah, I missed. Which union did you mention?
SEIU.
Exactly. Well, they're obviously a huge. Such service workers. They're a huge national union. The union, in our case, is a branch of the Teamsters.
Yes.
Right. So that's also one of the oldest, unions in the country. That's the case in San Diego. Is the Teamsters Local 210 is a specific branch that we're dealing with down there. But I think that the overall takeaway is that the Janus case really changed the playing field in terms of how this works. So if you're a public employee out there listening to this, obviously I can't give out legal advice. You need to seek out your own legal counsel if you have a legal question. But at the end of the day, the Janus case really modifies the way this works. And, based upon recent polling numbers, I think statutes like SB 866 are even more egregious because you look at the numbers and you find out that a lot of public employees still haven't heard about Janus. They still don't know about it. And so, if you're a public employee listening, I suggest that you look up this case. It changed the playing field when it comes to these payments. And there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are being told, yeah, okay, so you heard about this case, but if you exercise your rights under this case and you decide not to give money to the union anymore, they could punish you somehow. You're not going to get your annual raise, or maybe your health care could be modified or something like that. Nobody wants to put their family's financial stability at risk, if that's true, or no one wants to lose their health care when they have kids or their spouses relying upon their health care. And so most people, understandably, I think, who hear this misinformation say, well, okay, I don't want to rock the boat. It's only, in some cases, $60, $70 a paycheck. I'm not going to, cause too much of a ruckus here. Well, that's not the point. The point is that you have this right, and if that's $70 a month, or $70 a paycheck, rather, $140 a month, or whatever the number is for your particular situation, that's your money.
Absolutely.
And you should be the one to decide how it's spent. And if you don't think that you're freely deciding to give money to the union and deriving a benefit from it, then you should exercise your rights and end those payments. And the state, or whatever state you're in conjunction with the union, should not keep this information from you or erect other roadblocks in your way to prevent you from effectively exercising your rights.
This man knows all about this topic. He's very knowledgeable, very helpful. I'm talking about Attorney Tim Snowball with the Pacific Legal Foundation. Tim, if they want to follow this case or any of the cases with Pacific Legal, what do they do?
Yeah, great. Please visit our website at pacificlegal.org. That has all our cases, and we're active not only in the area of First Amendment, but we also are famous for property rights, equal protection, economic liberty. So you can get on there, and it's a really fun website to go through and click through and check out our cases. The particular case I'm talking about is Jackson versus Napolitano. You can reach that either on our case page, or you can go on my own page there, and the case is attached at the bottom of the page. We've also got all kinds of blogs and different information on it, and I encourage your readers, or your listeners, to check it out.
Absolutely. Tim, please come back soon. Appreciate you and Pacific Legal Foundation. God bless and have a great, great weekend, all right?
Thanks, Eddie.
All right. Thank you, sir. Very, very interesting case in California with the unions, and Attorney Tim Snowball, I appreciate that. We'll have him back. You can guarantee that. Right now, I've got to get the weather on here. My goodness sake, Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my. All the delicious meats. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Check it out. Everything, the marinated pork ribs, the tri-tips, all the bratwurst. Oh, and by the way, make sure and check out the 4-H and FFA market animals through Scarrows Meats. Oh, my delicious, delicious meats. And Don Scarrow and his crew putting everything together for your enjoyment. Believe me, when I say this, they've got everything, all the different kinds of bacons, and they've got all the breakfast sausages, the bratwurst, everything you need for a family outing, a family picnic, company, business reunions, whatever the case might be. Get a hold of Scarrows Meats, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's a nice day for a parade. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, high of about 90 with a slight breeze out of the south at about 8 miles an hour. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies, high of 88. The wind is going to be picking up as we move through tomorrow night, mostly clear skies, and wind gusts could be as high as 32 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 55. For Friday, sunny skies, still a little bit on the breezy side with a high of 83, and as we look towards the weekend, looks like sunny skies and upper 80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, and brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats. They are located at 331 North Road, Jerome, and, of course, the website, scarrowsmeats.com. Call them if you have questions, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. You know, Wheels, if you got your headsets on, which you better, or I'll come over and duct tape them on your ears, you must be the only one left at the studio.
I have been, to be honest. I've been the only one here besides Christy, our secretary up front, since I got here, like 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I understand that Scotty and Gina and everybody else said, we're out of here, we're going to the parade, right?
Yep, they decided to go do their remote at the parade and everything, and so, you know, when it came to funeral announcements, too, you know, it was one of those things where I knew we weren't going to have them this morning, and so it's actually been nice, though. I've enjoyed being over here by myself.
All right, well, listen, I think we got a call, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, buddy, thank you very much. Caller, good morning, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Turn that duct tape inside out, would you, when you put it on there?
What are you trying to imply, Earl?
Well, I don't want you to lose as much hair as I have over the years.
Well,
I'm telling you, I feel like my hairline's already receding since I wear a hat quite a bit, so I'm on the way.
Well, look at the pressure you're under.
Now, Earl, I'm going to jump in on the conversation and say, back off a little bit, Earl. How's everything up on the mountain this morning?
Sun shining, and I'm getting some outside rounds cut on hay.
Well, I'll tell you.
I'll wait till the sun starts to dip over towards the Murtaugh area, and then I'll cut some more this evening.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, the weather has been phenomenal and a great summer, and I know you're listening, but don't do too much out in the hot weather. Enjoy yourself, and thank you for your calls.
Yeah, I got to keep you two stirred up. I don't want it all sinking to the bottom of the tub.
There you go. By golly, that's down there where the bad stuff is. We want to stay on top. Earl, thank you. I appreciate it. God bless.
See you, kid.
All right, thank you. I love that term, kids. I haven't been called that for a long time. Hey, I want to acknowledge our number one sponsor on this program, and that's, of course, all 7 of the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I mean, they are number one. They do everything they can to be of service to you. The very best of tires, all the sizes, all the tread designs for all the vehicles. The best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. And they offer a free I messed it up today. I've been good for a week. I never messed it up. Free pre-trip safety check. There you go. And they'll check out your tires for air pressure, wheel alignment for tire wear, front-end components, shocks and struts, batteries with a load test, brake components. They want you to leave on maybe your late summer road trip and go to point B, turn around and come back home safely. All of this and more with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center. Stop in. Don't be driving around on dangerous tires. They've got the best for you at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I am going to be gone tomorrow, and Sharon Wilmot is going to be filling in for me. She always does a wonderful job, and she's going to be over at the studio with Wheels, and I just want to have you call her, treat her nicely, and visit with her a little bit. And we always wrap the program up by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys, but number one in our slogans at the end of this program, and we mean this, in God we trust. God bless you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you.